Kyron Horman's story begins long before that fateful day in June 2010. He was born on September 9, 2002, to Kyron Horman and Desiree Young. Their marriage, however, wasn't a happy one. While Desiree was 8 months pregnant with Kyron, she discovered that Kyron had been unfaithful. This discovery tore their relationship apart, and they divorced shortly after Kyron's birth. Despite the rocky start, both parents remained committed to raising their son. But life wasn't easy for Desiree. She struggled with severe kidney issues, often finding herself in and out of the hospital. This made it difficult for her to care for young Kyron, so he ended up living primarily with his father, Kyron. By the time Kyron was 7, Kyron had remarried a woman named Terry Moulton. Kyron's family was now a blended one. Terry, Kyron's stepmother, had a strained relationship with her own son from a previous marriage. Kyron and Terry seemed to provide a stable environment for Kyron, who thrived in school and had a loving relationship with both of his biological parents. June 4th, 2010. June 4th started like any other day. Kyron was excited to participate in his school's science fair at Skyline Elementary in Portland, Oregon. His project, focused on the red-eyed tree frog, was set up proudly, and his stepmother Terry even snapped a picture of him smiling beside it, the last known photo of Kyron before he disappeared. Terry says she walked Kyron to his classroom around 8:15 a.m., helped him set up, and then left. She claims to have seen him walking toward his first class as she headed out of the building. By all accounts, this was an ordinary morning. But then things took a chilling turn. When Kyron's teacher took attendance later that morning, Kyron was marked absent. His stepmother had scheduled a doctor's appointment for him the following week, but due to a mix-up, the school thought the appointment was that day. No alarms were raised, but when Kyron didn't get off the bus that afternoon, panic set in. Kyron and Terry immediately called the school and learned that Kyron had been marked absent all day. A frantic search ensued. His parents drove to every place they could think of, but there was no sign of Kyron. That night, the police were called, and a massive search began. The search for Kyron was one of the largest in Oregon's history. Law enforcement, volunteers, and even the FBI scoured the area around Skyline Elementary. Helicopters, sniffer dogs, and search parties combed through nearby parks, neighborhoods, and forests, but no trace of Kyron was ever found. As the days turned into weeks, public attention turned inward. If Kyron hadn't wandered off, then who could be responsible? Terry Moulton Horman, the evil stepmother? Terry Horman quickly became the focus of the investigation. After all, she was the last person to see Kyron, but her behavior following his disappearance raised eyebrows. As the investigation unfolded, several theories emerged. Could someone have taken Kyron from the school? It's possible. The school was open to parents and visitors that day, and security was lax. But despite exhaustive searches, there was no hard evidence pointing to an outside abductor. Terry Horman's involvement. Was Terry responsible? Many people believed so, especially after her failed polygraphs and suspicious behavior. But as much as her actions raised red flags, there was no physical evidence linking her to the crime. Could she have pulled off such a meticulously planned disappearance with no trace left behind? Another theory suggests that Kyron may have met with an accident at school and someone covered it up, but again, no evidence supports this idea. Some speculated that Kyron might have had a small seizure or medical event and wandered off, only to succumb to the elements. What most likely happened? So, what happened to Kyron Horman? Despite Terry Horman's odd behavior, there's simply not enough evidence to definitively pin the crime on her. Yes, she made suspicious choices, but that alone doesn't make her guilty of a crime as complex as an abduction or murder. The most plausible theory is that a stranger took advantage of the school's chaotic environment during the science fair. There were reports of a strange man at the school that day, and Kyron was a shy but trusting child. Could someone have lured him away under the guise of needing help? Sadly, without more concrete evidence, we may never know for sure. What we do know is that Kyron's family is still searching for answers, and this case remains open. What do you think? Do you believe Terry Horman was involved, or was it a random act of violence by a stranger? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and until next time.